Pastor Doug back again with another question and answer video. It's last in my official pastor preaching robe series. Again, doing this after church on some Sunday, so I'm leaving my robe on. But I'm doing questions I've received over the years about high church and low church, so I thought it'd be kind of amusing to leave the fancy preaching robe on. And today's question is, should a church building be fancy? Should you really decorate your church building? There's a lot of debate about that. Now, obviously, for the Protestant tradition, we're very much against idols and things of that nature, and statues and things of that nature. And I don't want to go into that debate now. The church I currently serve in is wonderfully schizophrenic because we are from the Congregationalist tradition, which historically has been very low church. It has argued church should be very simple. If you've ever seen a New England Congregational church, it's plain, it's stark, it's a simple meeting house. You shouldn't get all fancy with it. And there's a good theological reason for that. Again, nowhere in Scripture does it say you should have a fancy church. We should just have a simple, plain meeting house for the saints. And besides, why would you want to spend lots of money on trying to keep a museum going? If you come to our church, however, though we are from the Congregational Heritage, you'd think we were an Anglican church because we have this huge, big, fancy, fort-like building with stained glass windows and huge organs, and it is beautiful. And it was built like that, about 115 years ago or so. And the logic for the big fancy churches from like the Lutheran and Anglican tradition is from the Old Testament, that the Lord should get the best. And therefore, the meeting house of the Lord, the place where the Lord's worshiped, should be the best. And therefore, we should have the best artists come in and make a really fancy building. I must confess, if I had to choose, I prefer the first method, the simple congregational approach. However, I do appreciate the high church approach. Whatever a church does, though, for a building, however, it should think about it theologically. It should do all things theologically. And as for the saints who go to the building's optional. You have to be in a local church. You have to show up on Sunday worship. That's true. But whatever building you have freedom about. Because what's essential, of course, is the assembling of the saints and the worship of the Lord through the ministry of the Word on the Lord's day. That's what's essential. So, should a church be big and fancy? That's an issue of freedom. And there's arguments on both sides. But you should think things out biblically. Well, I hope that helps. As always, I hope Christ's grace is with you all. Amen.